bar running along the top of your screen at any moment. I do post the recordings of these sessions to a YouTube channel that I manage. You'll get all of this in a recap, so you can go back to it for reference. But like I said, I kind of want you guys to follow along and think about some of this stuff and start to bring it into what you are going to put on your own website. For those that do not know me, my name is Anuj. I am the field marketing specialist here in Santa Cruz and Monterey County. And as the title says, we're going to talk about some of the basics of the InTouch website, a little bit about where you want to go to plug some specifics. And then, like I said in the introduction, we're going to focus on some key points into what you want to build for your consumer. Your website should be a very consumer-driven section of your marketing plan. And it's the way I like to think about it is we want to make it the hub or the central capture point for your business. And everything else are spokes off of that. Things like your Instagram channel, things like marketing collateral that goes to the mail, newspaper ads, listings, everything else are spokes that drive consumers back to this main hub. So your website initially starts off as someplace with what's built in it, right? You've got all of the stuff for MLS and all of the listing searches and your history all built into there. So what you really want to think about, and what we're going to focus on in this session, is how we can go from the basics of searching for homes and then building on top of that something that becomes reusable and shareable by your consumer to make sure you stay engaged and top of mind with them, and to help grow your network and over the long term grow your SEO to make sure that you have a strong presence and an online footprint. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to switch over to the live demo where we're going to go into InTouch and dive into all of what I'm talking about. Before I do that, I am going to ask that everybody please remain muted through the entirety of the session. My goal is to get everybody out here just a little after 10 o'clock, 1 or 2 minutes. If everyone will allow. And if you do have any questions, feel free to, like I noted at the beginning, open up the chat, which will be on either side of my head. That will allow you to drop in any questions. I will address them all at the end of the session, as well as open up the floor for any questions, and you can unmute yourselves then. I am going to go ahead and mute everyone in the session, and we're going to dive into the demo. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a second, and we're going to move to, you guys should see cbdesk popping up any moment. All right. This is where InTouch lives. So InTouch is not only where your website lives, but it's your CRM, and that's a whole other class in and of itself. But there's a lot that's happening in this tool. And it's something that is a part of your ASP, so you want to make sure you're leveraging it to the best of its ability if it's something that's a part of your business plan. And in talking about your business plan, right, this is where I've gone ahead and just gone into my InTouch. This is where your marketing plan is reflected on in regards to what you're doing for the quarter and how much you have in regards to capital to invest in any given avenue. So you always want to, like I said in the beginning, be conscious of things that you're already getting from the company in the packages, and this website is one of them. So the first thing you're going to see whenever you land into InTouch, we're just going to do a brief wash through. You've got your main page here with any new contacts funneling in and your quick contact sort on top. The two sections we're going to focus on today are obviously website. But before we dive into there, you always want to go into the account section. So I'm going to click on my account. Let me just kind of see if I can zoom that in a little bit more, make this a little bit easier. I'm going to go right into my account. Clicked on account, going into my account, and that's going to land us on the settings section, which actually has a bit of data that reflects on the website. I'm going to go ahead and open mine to allow you guys to view. I want to see what some of the stuff I'm talking about is. So when you're in that settings section, obviously the first thing you want to make sure is your name correct, your title correct, you got your license number, the correct contact phone numbers, methods of which you can communicate. I don't have an iPhone, so FaceTime isn't something I leave checked. So things like that you want to make sure are indeed correct. Your address is correct. And then something like the email. Your external email should be whatever your business email is. The CRM and website, these will always show up because it's what InTouch uses for tracking purposes. It's how they get all that analytics back to you. But again, that's a whole conversation in and of itself. You just want to make sure you switch this. I use my business emails, my CB NorCal. If you've purchased your own domain and you have your own email that goes with that, this is again where you would enter that email. So if I had purchased anuj.chaudhary.com and my email was agent@anuj.chaudhary.com, I would put that email in here, and then you go down here and you want to change that reply to, so that way anything that you send and in regards to listing alerts, marketing collateral, stuff like that, when the consumer replies, they go right to whatever email you actually communicate with. Very valuable. Make sure you do that. This is something, again, all to review just as you dive in here. Every change you make, you want to hit that save button. I'm going to go ahead and save before we dive into the other section below, and I show you how to edit that. We're just going to see, everything updated successfully. That's how you know it worked. Below, you're going to see this website section. This has 2 items in it. As you can see here, you've got a bio summary and a full bio. Now, bios, if you're new, the Design Concierge is a great tool to go into and have a bio constructed in. We have a great team of authors in there and copywriters. If you need more information about that, talk to your field marketing specialist or talk to your SSA. But if you've already got something ready to go, what you want to think about is your bio summary. This is your elevator pitch. This shows up on your homepage feed. So for me, that shows up right here. Your full bio is going to show up under the About tab, or if you change the title of that, we'll go over that in a minute, is where your full bio goes. You can incorporate things like video and picture into this. So if you've got a introductory video that you've already shot for yourself, there's all kinds of, again, great things that we can incorporate into these spaces because they're very much edited the same way you would edit one of the InTouch emails or any basic HTML page on a website. Now this gets real heady and real complicated, so I'm not going to dive into editing the code, but your FMS can help you if you already got the collateral made, if you've got your introduction video, if you've got photos that you want to use, if you want to gussy up your bio, this is where you want to reach out to them and start talking about how to put those assets in easier detail. But for the quick things, like as you can see, I've got a photo in here. These are just as easy as moving to where you would want, and you would grab the source image from your library of images in the marketing center. Now, that sounds a little complicated, but I'm going to show you how to do that real quickly. So if you want to preload images and have them ready here to use, all you need to do is go into your marketing center, and any images that you plan to use on your bio page or even throughout your email campaigns that you're sending, anything like that, you can upload them into images. Oh, I didn't mean to select all of those. What we're looking at is images right here, and that's in the marketing center. As you can see, I've got a ton of stuff in here. So let's say I wanted to put, let's say I was going to highlight a charity for the quarter. I can go into one of my uploaded images. I can right click, and this is where that copy image address is the option you're actually going to use. And this is, again, I just right clicked on my image, copy image address, and then you can go back to the space you were editing. Oops, my account. And once we're back in my account, I'm going to go to my bio summary. Let's say I want to add it into my bio summary. I can go down here. I can move my cursor to the center, and I can go insert an image. Now I can paste that in here, and you'll see the dimensions pop right in. You can manipulate this by going to the corner and dragging and dropping. And you can delete it by selecting it and hitting delete. If you wanted to link this to something, all you have to do is select that image and put that URL in. So if I wanted to say, this quarter, this is the charity I'm highlighting to support a local something in my community, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail in a minute. This is where you would add something like that, and you could link to it. Or again, if you wanted to use a video, you can drop an image in and link that to a video on your YouTube channel, like an introduction, or you could also drop in the source code to embed the video. There's, again, lots of room to play in here and make this your own. But your goal with the bio summary is, like I said at the front, it's an elevator pitch. So this isn't where the whole resume of what you provide as a service gets added. That's the full bio. That's something that you will see, and you can click here, view your about page. Any edits you make in real time are always going to be editable, or viewable, I should say, by you as you refresh your web page. Almost all of these changes are like that. The exceptions are things like logo updates or full theme updates, sometimes take up to an hour to reflect. The last thing you're going to be able to edit in this account section outside of the bio summary and the full bio are your social media options. And as you can see, those are right up here at the top next to your name, or if you're in the about section, they pop up again next to your name, and you want to make sure whatever you're using is something that is active. I think there's nothing more harmful to your brand than to link to a page that you don't keep up to date. So again, when we think about the central hub of your business being this website, and you've got all your other marketing brands with call to actions to drive consumers back to this website because there's 1,000,001 places to capture them. And again, this is where everything about your business gets advertised. You think about all these now two-way streets. You can capture consumers where they are, and again, continue to drive them to your business and try and work on, if you work with your manager on things like lead funnels or any kind of way you're driving consumers through your CRM, in discussion for another time. But that's how marketing works hand in hand with this kind of stuff. And it's a roadmap you want to build in advertising yourself. So we've got those two basics set, right? Who are you and what does your business do? Answered in a short bio and a full bio. And all of your links are all set. If you need to delete anything, you can delete anything. If you need to add anything, you hit add social media, choose the one you want to add, and copy the URL and paste it. Once you've done all these, always hit save. Now we can dive into the rest of the website editor. We're going to go into edit site, and you're going to land on a menu page. The first thing it takes you to is this pages section right here under the website header. This menu along the left is going to give you all of the options that you have to edit the website on the back end. Like I said, there's a lot you can talk about here, but this is just a basics class, and we're going to focus on one section in specific in detail. I'm just going to go over some of these basics. As you can see here, you've got your pages or your menu items at the very top that are pages. So these big bold things run all along the top. And under resources, I've got subpages. And that's illustrated here by resources and subpages. All of these can be moved. So if I moved finance out to its own space and hit save, and that's just by clicking and holding and dragging and letting go. Now you can see there's a finance space, and my resources one got smaller. So you can design this, again, you don't want to have too many tabs, right? Because again, thinking about this website wants to be mobile friendly as well, because almost 80% of your consumers will open it on a mobile device. The more concise you can be, the better. The more you can consolidate things, the better. You want to focus on advertising your business and yourself. And then this first section that takes a bit of time to build is what we're going to talk about, is the community served. And when you're on your web page, you'll be able to see it laid out on the homepage of any of the InTouch websites as different communities here. There's filler images that will automatically apply, but when you upload your own in the back end, you'll be able to add a lot more information and create a huge value and revisitable connection to your consumers with these pages. So if I clicked Big Sur, for example, you can see in here where you can edit that community. So again, I got in here by going to Community Served. You can add communities. You always want to add them by zip code or by map range. We're going to talk about that in detail in just a sec. Actually, adding communities is just the same as editing one. And what you can see here, you've got the title of that community. So what do you want to call it? And then the area. So when you are including zip codes, what you're going to end up seeing when you're on a page, there's the section that you add, and then an auto section that populates that talks about, as you can see, properties and homes available in the area. The data that populates in this section is reflected on the areas included in either the zip code search or the map you draw. So if you were in my region and you wanted to maybe map out the Highway 68 corridor, which isn't exactly a zip code area, but you could draw a map, and this is just as easy as it is on any other of the real estate applications that you guys use. Whoops. Double click, it zooms in, which is not what I wanted to do. But as you can see, we're going to draw a community, click, hold, and now everything inside of that boundary will be reflected in this. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You can only do one or the other. And then again, that map will reflect right up here for your consumer. And they can choose different modes. But again, this is again for your consumer. There isn't a whole lot happening there. You can also just type regions. As you can see, you can have one or the other. And if you're not using the zip code, it will use whatever the mapped area is for these two regions on Bing. So it's up to you how you want to aggregate that data and what you want to reflect and show to your consumer. But the selling point here is, again, your connection to your community and the knowledge that you have as to what's going on and how you can advertise it to your consumers. It helps build an understanding to a consumer as to why you're the best person to work with them, either buyer or seller, because you can show them, people hear with their eyes. And these pages are a great opportunity to show your consumer why you're the best person to represent them. Now, what you've got here is a community summary, but at the bottom, you can see this is where you can add community images. You can add up to 3 images. The first one that you in the upload order, that first photo is always going to drop right behind the community summary. The second 2 will drop underneath the detailed summary, or the community description, and separate that from the real estate information. So it gives you a little bit buffer between the two. And in this space, much like on the homepage, you can do things like add videos that you're creating as a part of your marketing plan. If you are targeting a specific area or a specific community, this isn't something that happens quickly, right? This is something you should work on with your FMS. What's your goal for Q1? I would target that community, build out that section first, and do your best to make sure all of your online and physical collateral is really relevant to those consumers. If I were, again, targeting Big Sur and Carmel Valley, those were the 2 community pages I want to make sure I'm building up, I would highlight local businesses, highlight things in your community, talk about your community, highlight homes, talk about your business in the community. You know, this is where you can share all of that great information, along with add a couple of descriptions in. Now, I just grabbed this stuff from Wikipedia because it's a public encyclopedia. And then I went down here and added an additional paragraph to describe. I always say grab a little bit from Wikipedia because A, it's useful, and B, it helps with search engine optimization when it comes to things that are going to be picked up by web crawlers when people are searching for things in the region. And B, the other description below would be how I would describe Big Sur to a friend that's not from the region. You put all that in there, you share everything. You've also got these great key characteristics that you can see will show up right along the side here. But these are big value adds to your community. And SEO and meta description, again, that's a big conversation for another time. So we'll talk about that, or you should talk about that with your FMS or your SSA. But this is something that I would focus on building out first on your page because it creates instant value for your consumer. Now, beyond that, the other thing you want to focus on is obviously the appearance of the page. So I'm going to jump back to the very top. And if you look at the appearance tab, this is where you can edit things like the website logo and choose the actual template for the page that is being laid out. So when we go into, I'm jumping back into appearance. So again, if we were on website, we hit edit site. First thing we did was jumped to community served. You want to start building that out after you've decided what your headers are going to be and how they're going to be ordered. Now we're jumping quickly into appearance because this is something you also want to focus on from the get-go. If you want to choose what logo you have, this gives you that option. This is the logo that will appear not only here, but on all marketing collateral that you'll send out of InTouch. If you are a global luxury certified specialist, you will also have the option to use that logo. If you are not, it will not appear here. The website setup wizard is where everything else will change. Now, these things, if you update, sometimes will take up to an hour to reflect. Everything else we were talking about will update instantly. You've got 3 different platforms you can, or I should say templates you can choose from. And then you can switch, as you can see here, between dark text and light background or light text and dark background. Once you've done that, it'll move you to the next step where you can choose color schemes and fonts. This, again, if you've already had something built with Design Concierge, if you've got your own personal branding that you're incorporating in sections of the website, make sure this works with that color scheme. Same thing, there's a handful of fonts that you can use. And text colors, these colors are all obviously Pantone eligible. So you want to, again, make sure it's something that works with your branding. If you worked with Design Concierge or even any outside designer, you should have gotten a book that has all of the Pantones linked in them. That's where you would get all of that information. The home screen is where you can upload images. This is where you see the image that comes here. If you can upload up to 4. I'm going to show an example of one of my agents that did that. All that does is creates a rotating carousel of images for your consumer. And this is something that becomes instant value, especially if you update them quarterly, because then whenever your consumer revisits the page, it's something that instantly catches their eye. That's different. I can browse about and see what else has changed. Big note when it comes to adding any image to your website, to social media, to any platform that is related to your business that you are advertising yourself on. Make sure you are the copyright owner for any images that are being uploaded. If you did not purchase the copyright or did not take the photo yourself, you are always putting yourself in a gray area where the copyright owner can come after you for violation of their copyright. So always avoid that by either using images you've paid someone to take, images you have purchased, or images you have taken yourself. Adding images is just as easy as it is to upload images in anything, you would go here. You can choose by selecting images you've already uploaded in the InTouch system, or you can upload your own by selecting a file and dragging it in and hitting upload. We'll give you the option to title the photo with a headline. That's what will show up here. And if you add a meta description, this will aid the image in its searchability on search engines. So if someone is searching for images of Bixby Creek Bridge in Google, there is now a chance that this image pops up. And if someone double clicks it, it leads them back to my website. Again, long-term plans to game SEO. The larger your image library grows, the more you're advertising a specific area over a number of years, the better chance that you have of consumers just randomly landing to your page. The better you are at putting yourself in front of your consumer, the better chance you have at capturing new consumers and channeling them into business. Last section here is the review section. This will allow you to choose what is displayed at the top, as well as the display location of the property image. So I have a title for my image, and I wanted my home search icon to start right underneath it. You can move it really anywhere you want based on what this image is, as you can see here, and it will update whatever suits your purpose. But again, if you do not hit save at the end of this, nothing will change. That's the appearance, that's the community served, and the pages section. I mean, the last thing, as you know, a beginner and as for basics, the home page is edited by in this website. So again, if we're website, edit site, the bios are all edited on the My Account tab. Everything else on the home page, which is that first landing page of your website, is edited by, and I'm going to do that again just for repetition. We're going to hit page, edit page, and you can see all of the sections that exist. The standard icon, the image at the top, cannot be moved. The rest of these can be dragged and moved about however you would like to see them laid out. So if I had testimonials, they would pop up before my agent card, which is my bio, but now I've moved that here. I've got my communities here, and if you wanted to edit what this looked like in regards to its layout, you could hit edit. And as you can see, I've got the 6 photo option. I could choose a 3, choose a descriptor. You could choose just image and names. You could choose just names with different colors, whatever you would want. You hit save. You can also change the title of this header. You can add new widgets or you can delete widgets. But again, provide value to your consumer. Those are the places that I would start with and then start to build out from there. You know, if you put on too much on the plate out of the get-go, it's going to get real daunting. Start with building out the communities and your homepage and build out from there, because there's all kinds of things in regards to InTouch that can be done. And there's different ways to reach out to your consumers from this one platform. Your website should be the place your consumer comes to hang out and learn about things in your community and engage with you about business. So make it very consumer friendly and make it fun for them. Last thing you'll see when preview and edit, it'll give you a desktop view, a tablet view, and a mobile view. So you can always make sure your website looks nice and clean. You hit save, and then you can close. I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and see if there's any questions in the chat. You can also feel free to unmute yourself and open up for any questions that you have as well. I see, Gabrielle, you have your hand up. I'm going to go ahead and call on you.
Okay. Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for the class. I'm the new branch manager over in Pack Heights, so this is my first week.
Oh, awesome. Welcome.
Yeah. Thanks. I had a couple of questions. I noticed there's a stock photo that will come up for the zip codes and the communities page. And then we
Right.
talked about using info from Wikipedia. Is there any stock description that populates, or is that blank?
Those are all blank. So
Okay.
when an agent's going to go in there, that's why I think it's one of the most important spots to edit right out of the gate, because a consumer is almost always going to dive right into the communities and see either right what's available listing wise or what information is made available to them about that community. And the only thing you'll see right out of the gate is if there's zip codes or a community added, you'll get whatever radius information is being pulled in about listings for that section. Everything else will be blank.
Okay. And then the next question that I had is totally separate. In terms of support, I was kind of clicking around through Design Concierge just to see what would a brand new agent do to get started if they were sort of not. I think this is great, and I'm somewhat tech savvy to figure this out. But where's the resource for an agent if they're struggling to get this set up?
I'm a big fan of utilizing the me in your region for that. So I always tell agents, if you're interested in design concierge orders, talk to me first, and then it becomes a discussion of, where is your brand at the current moment? What does your budget allocate in regards for investment in that? And then if we want to take, something like I have several agents that have gone, I'm going to invest in the disruptor package out of the gate.
Mhm.
Um, because their business plan allows for it. But I've had other agents where it's like, okay, we're going to purchase just a logo and a bio for now, and then we're going to work towards the rest of the stuff as transactions come in and allocate. So it kind of becomes a moving target, and I think it varies agent to agent.
Okay. But as far as just the basics, if someone was like, I can't figure out the bio, because we have people who are all different levels of tech savvy, that would be just routed over to the field
Yeah,
market.
I would reach out to the field marketing specialist or the SSA.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Awesome. I've got a couple of things in the chat here. So there's a couple of thank yous that I appreciate. There are a couple of questions here about the pro side. So I'm going to touch on that real quick. The pro feature is so InTouch is a retailed software made by a company called Market Leader. That is something that is available to agents all over, but they build a proprietary version for Coldwell Banker agents that you guys get as a part of your ASP. The pro version is the beefed up version of that. So the retail version of that is, I believe, 175 a month. You guys get it for 175 a year. And what it adds predominantly for agent value is on the back end for visibility for what your consumers are looking at in searches that you're sending, so you can see every single listing that they're looking at and not just the ones they're favoriting. You also will get a domain registered through Market Leader that they will hold so long as you maintain the account with them. They also give you an email that will run through the InTouch system that is custom to your domain. Um, and then you get a Market Insider tab. Now, this is the one thing that's consumer facing that has some real value. If you have one of those tabs, it gives you an entire neighborhood breakdown of one of the regions you're looking at. So I can share. Let me pull up one of those. I could share my screen. You can see what they look like. Let's see here. So if you're a pro user, let me zoom in, you get, like I said, this Market Insider tab. And then for any zip code that you want to pop in, you get all of this great data that your consumer can then come to you with questions with, and then you can then be that knowledge base for them to say, hey, if you want someone to articulate this to you and let you know what this means for you, what this kind of investment would mean for you, or what kind of financial gain or opportunity you may have, this is where. And they can also get the stuff emailed to them, so it not only adds the visible factor and talking points, but it also creates another capture point on the website. Beyond that, you really don't get anything additional from the pro side of the market leader. And then Susanna, if you're in my region, you can call me. I think it says you're in Los Gatos, so you can, the me in your region is Amanda Hamchuk, and she's awesome. Are there any other questions? You guys can feel free to unmute yourself, or feel free to type. I see there are people typing in the chat. You are welcome, everybody, to saying thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording because I feel like we've hit the